So we have already discussed like what is public speaking, how you have to speak in public, and what are the things you need to keep in mind to boost your confidence. So today we will discuss something else, like what is the benefits of public speaking. So I'll share my screen here. Kanupriya, you are from which university? Am I audible, Kanupriya?
जी मैम
Jadavpur. Okay. So what is a like? Just a second. What is the benefits of public speaking? So according to the Association of American Colleges and Universities, there are a core set of skills that are necessary both for a globally engaged democracy and for a dynamic innovation fueled economy. So in the category of intellectual and practical skills, public speaking is listed. Just a second. As one of the core skills. Now, this is not particularly surprising given that communication skills are critical for intellectual development, career, and also civic engagement. Now, public speaking is universally applicable to all types of major and occupations and is seen by US employers. No matter what your ambition and interest are, developing speaking skills will benefit your personal and public life. So public speaking is actually needed in various aspects in your life. So there are a core set of skills which is necessary for both a globally engaged democracy and for a dynamic innovation field economy. So in the category of intellectual and practical skills, public speaking is listed as one of those core skills. Now, this is not practically surprising, given that communication skills are critical for intellectual development, career trajectory, and civic engagement. So, public speaking is universally applicable to all types of majors and occupations and is seen by US employers as a critical employability skill for job seekers. Now, no matter what your ambitions and interests are, if you develop some skills for public speaking, it will always help you. Okay, what is a personal benefit? Now, people don't just give presentations on the job and in classes. So at times, we are called upon to give speeches in our personal lives too. So it may be for a special event such as a toast at a wedding. So we may be asked to give a eulogy at a funeral for a friend or loved one. So as a part of volunteer work, one may have to introduce a guest speaker at an event or present or accept an award for service. Developing the skill to give these types of speeches sorry, So, as a part of volunteer work, one may have to introduce a guest speaker at an event or present or accept an award for service. Now, developing the skills to give these types of speeches can help us to fulfill essential roles in our family and community. Another great personal benefit of public speaking is it builds self-confidence. So it's no surprise that speaking in public is scary, but by engaging in the activity, you will build self-confidence through the experience. People don't just give presentations on the job and in classes. We know that sometimes we need to give some speeches in our personal lives too, like in wedding, for a toast, on a special event. So you may be asked to give a eulogy at funeral. Eulogy means when somebody is dead, you need to speak about something. So as a part of this volunteer work, one may have to introduce a guest speaker. So developing the skill to these types of speeches can help you to fulfill essential roles in your family and community. So another great personal benefit of public speaking will be it builds self-confidence. So how much you will speak in public, it will definitely boost your confidence, how you have to speak. So it's no surprise, speaking public is scary, but you will get over it. But now, what is the professional benefit? Now, there are TV announcers, teachers, lawyers, entertainers. So they must be able to speak well. Now, most other professions require or at the very least can benefit from the skills found in public speaking. So it is believed 70% of jobs today involve some form of public speaking. So with the recent economic shift from manufacturing to service careers, the ability to communicate with others has become crucial. Now, top CEOs advise that great leaders must be able to communicate ideas effectively. They must be able to persuade, build support, negotiate, and speak effectively in public. Chapters on informative speaking and persuasive speaking can help readers understand how to write presentation, which will enhance their leadership skills. Now, but before you can start a career, you have to get a job. So effective speaking skills make you more attractive to employers, enhancing your chances of securing employment and later advancing within your career. So employers, career counselors, and National Association of Colleges and Employers all list of good communication skills at the top of the list qualities sought in potential employees. According to NEST Executive Director Marilyn Mack's Job Outlook 2013 report found that employers are looking for people who can communicate effectively. There is a website monster.com which helps us to find jobs. They also advise that articulating thoughts clearly and concisely will make a difference in in a job. So TV announcers, teachers, lawyers, entertainers, they must be able to speak well. Other than that, like most other profession, like require some kind of public speaking, right? I am also speaking in public, but that is not offline, that is online. So, like 70% of jobs today involve some kind of public speaking, whether you are in marketing, whether you are a teacher, anything. So you have to articulate thoughts and consciously it will make a difference. The public learning about public speaking will allow you to participate in democracy at its most basic level. So public speaking is important in creating and sustaining a society which includes informed and active participants. So even if you do not plan to run for office, learning about public speaking helps you to listen more carefully to and critically evaluate others' speeches. Listening and thinking will allow you to understand public dilemmas, the progress of the past century involving segregation, women's rights, environmental protection, and the result of people advancing new ideas and speaking out to persuade them to adopt changes. So, learning about what public speaking will allow you to participate in democracy at its most basic level. So, public speaking is important in creating and sustaining a society, which includes informed and active participants. Even if you do not plan to run for office, you can like learning about public speaking help you to listen more carefully and critically to evaluate other speeches. So listening and critical thinking allow you to understand public dilemmas, form an opinion about them, and participate in resolving them. So the progress of the past century involving segregation, women's rights, and environmental protection, and the result of people advancing new ideas and speaking out to others to persuade them to adopt changes. What is a model of communication? So it should be clear by now that public speaking happens all around us in many segments of our lives. So, however, to truly understand what is happening within these presentations, we need to step back and look at some of the key components of the communication process. So, this is linear model of communication. See the model: sender, channel, receiver. Sender is who is a public speaker. Now he or she is speaking. It is going by the channel, and the receiver is like the audience. So the first theoretical model of communication was proposed in 1949 by Shannon and Weaver for Bell Laboratories. So this three-part model was intended to capture the radio and television transmission process. So, however, it was later adapted to human communication and also known as the linear model of communication. Now, the first part of the model is the sender, and this is the person who is speaking. The second part of the model is a channel, which is apparatus for carrying the message like phone or TV. Third part of the model is the receiver. So in my case, I'm teaching through laptop, so channel is a laptop. Third part of the communication is seen as a one-way process for transmitting message from one person to another. This model can be found in the figure I have already shown you. So if you think about the situation when you communicate with another person face to face or give a speech, you will probably realize that the model is inadequate. Communication is much more complicated than firing of a message to others. So when I'm like speaking face to face, at that time the channel is not available. So it is not very simple. It's like very much complicated. Now, what is a transactional model of communication? The model of communication have evolved significantly since Shannon and Weaver first proposed their well-known conceptual model over 60 years ago. One of the most useful models for understanding public speaking, mm, Barnum's transactional model of communication. Now, in the transaction model, communication is seen as an ongoing circular process. We are constantly affecting and are affected by those who we communicate with. So, with whom we communicate, we get affected by those persons. Here, the transactional model has a number of interdependent process and components, including the encoding and decoding process, the communicator, the message, the channel, and noise. Although not directly addressed in Barnwell's original transactional model, participants' worldviews and the context also play an important role in communication process. So these two persons, Shannon and Weaver, has developed the communication model. One of the most useful models for understanding public speaking is Barnow's transactional model of communication. So in this transactional model, communication is seen as ongoing circular process. Like we are constantly affecting and are affected. So who are speaking, they are affecting, or who are the audience, they are affected by those we communicate with. So the transactional model has a number of independent process and components, including the encoding and decoding process, the communicator, the message, the channel, and noise. Although not directly addressed in Barnow's original transactional model, participants' worldview and the context also play an important role in the communication process. This is the figure. See, here is a noise. This is the communicator, who is the speaker. Now this is the message. This is the channel, and this is the receiver worldview. Now onology, epistemology, everything is here, and the context. So it is the model of communication which Shannon and Weaver has proposed. So what we discussed like what is the benefits of public speaking. There are different benefits of public speaking. Like you have to, you have to speak in public in your family function. So that also needs some kind of like courage. If you have the confidence, you can speak better. If you are attending your like professional place, you need to speak uh, in a like proper way. So all these things like all these places you need to speak properly and with confidence. So this is the place where you need to speak privately. Now what we discussed last day, so you first have to improve your confidence, have to research better. You should have stronger deductive skills, then ability to advocate for causes, and there are more. So you have to write the speech, overcome the fear of speaking, practice the speech, prepare your presentation, and give the speech. You can write an effective speech, overcome the fear of speaking, practice the speech. Now, I want to show you one video, one link I want to share with you. This one, copy this.
beginners. You can buy and download my ebook on public speaking from my website, publicspeakingebook.com. Think about the speech situation and ask yourself some basic questions. What is expected from you? What do the audience want to hear? And should you only inform them, or should you also need to persuade them? How formal is the setting? Is it a friendly, neutral, or hostile audience? Hopefully not the latter. Do you want to read word for word from a manuscript, or do you want to speak from memory? I often use notes, and that's what I recommend to all. Step 2. Think about what you want to achieve and start brainstorming. In terms of the end results, what you want the audience to know and feel afterward. What are you going to inform the audience about? Or what are you trying to persuade the audience to think or to do? Then start brainstorming and capture your best ideas. Be creative and don't self-censor yourself. Build on your experience, your interests and skills, and the things that motivate you and what makes you angry or happy. Is there perhaps a problem somewhere, and what do you propose that we do about it? How can we solve it? Write down some words and phrases. Spelling errors and grammatical mistakes are all right, because it's only for your own eyes. Step 3. Start drafting your main idea. Write a sentence about what you want to achieve. For example, I will inform the audience about the new laws that governs their business. Or I will inform my audience about being a safe driver. Or I will convince my audience that it's a good thing to invest in bitcoins. Or I will convince my audience that anyone can become a better public speaker. Just put down a line for yourself to capture and articulate the big picture. You're not yet writing your actual speech. Step 3 is all about brainstorming and being creative. Step 4. Start writing and structuring your actual speech. Write a sentence with your topic and your vital points in the third-person perspective. For example, to be a safe driver, you pay attention to the vehicle, other cars, and plan your next moves, if it's an informative speech. For a persuasive speech, it can be, for example, you can become a better public speaker if you plan, practice, and use handouts. This sentence is the basis for your continued writing process, but don't write it too detailed. Just aim at making it as clear and structured as possible. Your introduction should be short, grab the audience's attention, and tell them about your main idea. The middle part of your speech expands your main idea and the vital points. When writing your speech, you might have to do some research, i.e. read articles and books and collect some additional data. The ending should also be short, just like the introduction, and you can use the standard phrases like in conclusion or in summary, and briefly restate your main message. Always try to anticipate the questions that you will get from your audience and address the most relevant ones in your speech text, and be ready for the other ones during or after your speech. During this writing process, your speech or presentation doesn't have to be perfect yet, because it's still work in progress. When you have a pretty detailed outline, you can start practicing your speech. Deliver the speech at least a couple of times, with or without some friends or colleagues as a test audience, and rewrite the parts that are too complex, long, or unclear. Always strive for simplicity. Clarity is king. Step 5. Write out your manuscript, create your note cards, and/or create your PowerPoint slides. If you want to use slides, create a logical flow between the slides and don't put too much information on each slide. Further, if you want to, you can also create a paper handout that you distribute to your audience on the day of the speech. It can be a copy of your slides or a one-page summary. Step 6. How to deliver your speech or your presentation. On the day of the delivery, get there at least 1 hour before to load your presentation, test the technology and fix any technical issues. During the presentation, talk to the audience with a relaxed voice. Make eye contact and stand up straight. Do not speed up and avoid turning your back on the audience when looking at your slides.
So you can see during the presentation, you should have a relaxed voice. You have to make the eye contact. You should stand straight and you cannot speed up. You have to face the audience. So these are some techniques you need to follow while you are speaking publicly, and your introduction should be short and to the point, and you have to use some like official words like in conclusion, like some perfect words for the presentation. So that's all for today for public speaking. So I will conclude the session here. I will again meet next day. Thank you for your attention.